It is our favorite time of the week again. Time for hashtag Rising Qs when we get to answer your questions. Saagar, what is up first?
Number one, what do we got here? How does the potential mandate of vaccine passports likely to play into a legal class war divide as new strains emerge? The pandemic seems as though it will continue. How do you think this plays out in the judicial process, appeals, etc.? What do you think, Krystal?
I'm going to hold my fire on this one because I think people freaked out a little prematurely on the vaccine passports. I'm going to wait and see if these things actually come to fruition. The Biden administration has already said basically like, we're not going down that path. So this would be enforced by corporate America. And unfortunately, given our current legal regime, corporate America has a lot of power. So I'm not sure that the legal claims would have much of a leg to stand on. Whether that's how it should be or not is another question.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem, and the dynamic they're underscoring, Matt is asking about, I actually wouldn't even talk about vaccine passports. What I worry about more is about like lack of vaccination and strains and what that's all going to look like. You know, it just came out that 40% of U.S. Marines say they're not going to get the vaccine. And the divide is all between like enlisted guys and officers, right? Mm-hmm. And I expect that this is, highly concentrated amongst young, disproportionately like conservative men. That's going to be across the American South. And I really worry that you're going to have people up here, they're going to shame and like look down upon a lot of people who are distrustful of vaccines. And, it will turn into some excuse in order to deny funding or like wish death or something upon some of these people, which is just the last thing you need right now. Because what does it really represent? Lack of trust in authority. That is what this is all about. And you have to address that.
Well, the other piece is that these pharmaceutical companies, as we covered here, I think Lee Fong did the reporting on this. They're already out there like, can't wait till we can up the prices here.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They're dying
that
to hike
just
the
kills
prices.
Trust, of course.
In order to be able, for if there is a booster needed or whatever down the road. So that's the other piece where the class divisions may come into play.
Yeah, that's right.
Second question, if Trump takes advantage of his own social media platform, somewhere like Free Space or elsewhere, will not reporters from Fox, MSNBC, etc., just cover his messages and antics for ratings? What a cynical person you are. They would never do that. I will say it's interesting. All of elite media is on Twitter. And the fact that Trump isn't on Twitter actually has decreased their coverage of him.
It's killer for him.
We covered here the way that mentions of Trump and Google searches for Trump have plummeted to basically levels of where it was before he ran for president. So I am surprised, but mainstream media does seem to have kind of gotten tired of him and moved on. And I think it's a chicken and egg thing here, too, because I'm not sure that he just drives the ratings and the interest that he used to.
That's what I think it's both. And so there's a part of it, which is that, deplatforming obviously does work in terms of like removing people from the conversation. At the same time, organic interest in Trump is just much less. And so will they cover every single musing? I just don't think so. Like he's got the currently like his email blasts. I get them, in terms of like whatever his statements are. And, maybe 1 out of 10 gets coverage. It's just not the same thing, I think. And that's very likely the case, even if he does start his own social network. All right.
Last cue, Saagar.
Last question. Do you think Matt Gaetz realizes his constant lying has destroyed any credibility he might have relied upon in denying these accusations? Or do you think it has completely escaped him? I have a counterintuitive take. I think his constant lying helps him because so many of the people are conditioned to believe many of these things. So he's lied to people to tell them what they want to hear. So now whenever he's like, no, I didn't do anything. There's nothing to see here about any of this prostitution allegations, underage sex trafficking, etc., allegedly. Around all of this, that he's basically conditioned most of the Republican base to say this is a witch hunt against Matt Gaetz.
And meanwhile, the people who actually know him,
are like,
they're not saying a word.
Yeah. They're like, oh, it's true.
They're not saying a word about any of it. And of course, the media, the fact that the media has been dishonest in other circumstances and already hated Gaetz, that also gives people who want to believe Gaetz, they can just look at this and say, oh, they're just going after this guy again. It's another witch hunt, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. We'll have more for you later today.